So as I said, today we are going to cover test case execution that we have written yesterday, and then we will raise a defect in Jira, and lastly we will see requirement traceability matrix. So let's move on to the test cases that we have created. So yesterday I have created this test case. I have created in the first class. This one and this one I have created yesterday. So these three test case I will execute. I will show you like how we can execute test case in a test management tool. This is the first thing we are going to learn today. So under test, should we only create test case? We have a test runs section where we execute our created test cases. Okay. So for that, you have to create a new test run. Give a name over here, XYZ bank application test execution. And then from here, you have to select the suite. The suite that you have to select where you have created your test cases. Okay. From here, you have to select under which feature you have created the test case. Okay. And then create test run. It is asking to assign some of the members. So member name you have to assign, then click on create test run. So after that, you will see one test run has been created. XYZ bank application test execution. It is 0% complete. Nothing has been done. And here you will see all the, this is the feature. Under this feature, all the test cases are automatically pulled in this test run pack. These are the test cases. We, yeah, means for this batch, I have created these three test cases. So you can see these three details over here. So in under a feature, under a suit, under a feature, what, how many, the number of test cases that you will create, you can add it in a test run by just including the feature and the suit name. All the test cases are now added. Now move on to the Jira. This test case, let's suppose this is the first video story for which I have created a test case. So let's open this. Okay. Here you can see yesterday I have told you about the subtask creation activity. First subtask will be test case analysis, then it will be test case writing, and then test case peer review. After that, now once in agile methodology, what happens? Parallelly, we write the test cases, and parallelly developers also develop the application, right? So meanwhile, when parallelly we were writing the test cases, so developer already developed the application. This is the application. As of now, we have written all the test cases based on the SRS document and the requirement details that were available in the user story. But now developer has developed the application. Now it is available in a testing environment. Let's assume this is a testing environment where developer has deployed the code. Now it is available for testing. Okay. So now one by one, the test cases that we have written, we will start executing. So first of all, I will execute the test case for this user story. So for once test case analysis, test case writing, test case peer review task is completed, and once the application is available for testing, then you have to create one subtask. Or here, subtask is already created, test execution. Test execution subtask you have to create. Here you have to write one detail, and similarly, these things you have to update. After that, you have to, if you have started the execution, so make it in progress. Then go to the QA deputy test management tool and select the test case for that particular user story. So this is the test case. Make it in progress and click on this. So this is in progress. This is your testing, and this is the test case that I have written. This is the precondition. This is the test step. This is the expectation, and now we will note down our actuals over here. So let's do the execution. First of all, it is asking me to open the URL. So I have opened the URL in the Chrome browser. Okay. Now check home button at the top left corner of the header in the home page. So it is available here. Check header section color. So in the expectation, it is written header section color should be black. So yes, it is black. Check bank name position in the header section. It should be displayed in the middle. So yes, it is displayed in the middle. Check bank name color. It should be in white. So yes, it is in white color. Check customer login, bank manager login buttons on the body section. So customer login, bank manager login buttons are available in the body section. Check both buttons color. It should be in blue color. So it is in blue color. Check body section color. It, its color should be white. So it has a white color. So the developer has developed the application, this page correctly as per the requirement. So here what we will write in actual result, what you can write. You can write one by one all the lines here. And you have to do some modification. You have to write it in present tense because this is the actual observation. Okay. So this is your actually result. Everything is matching with the expected and actual. So what you will do, you will pass this test case. Okay. So this test case is passed. Now you will move on to the user story. This is completed. So you will make it mark it as done. Okay. Now move on to the user story. Once execution completes, then we create one more subtask in Agile. Test execution review. Test execution demo. After creating this is a subtask we create. Once the execution is complete, then we ask the product owner, the execution of this user story is completed, and I have found it is working as expected. So can you please uh, provide some time so that I can give a demo? So this is a subtask for that. Again, all the details you have to update here. Now product owner will give you a time. So in that time, what you will do as a part of this subtask, you will open this application and testing environment, and based on the user story, whatever the points that is written over here, you will explain to the product owner like this is the part, this is the part which has been developed as per the requirement, not as per the execution. This is for testing purpose. You will give demo to the product owner as per the user story, as per the requirement. So one by one, you will read the requirement and you will explain this is how it has been developed in the application and it is matching with the requirement. After the demo, if uh, product owner is happy, like yes, he also feel it is working as per the requirement, then you will mark it as done and product owner will provide a comment here like test execution demo is completed and it is developed as per the requirement. He will give a comment over here. After the comment, you can complete your task so that in future, if something happens, then you will have an evidence. You have given a demo and product owner has given his comment and he has accepted the user story. Okay. Once this test execution demo completes, so what you will do, you will come to the board. Let's suppose this is the user story, right? First of all, it was in progress. Once you started working on like test case analysis, so you have moved into in progress. Once test execution demo subtask is completed, now you will move this to the done status. Once all the activity related to testing is completed, then you will move this to the done status. So this is how we track our each and every activity with the help of a user story in an Agile. Any doubt, any confusion? If not, then let's move on to the next. This is uh, this is the next user story. Verify bunker design is completed. Um, this is the next user story. Validate customer detail page with the customer already has multiple account. So we will mark this in progress. Now we will execute all these test case one by one. Open application URL, click on customer login button, then click on your name drop down and select the customer mentioned in the precondition. So in precondition, it is written a registered customer having multiple account. So first of all, before starting of this execution, we have to find the customer from here. So that all the customer details we can see in bank manager login details. Because the bank is the man, a bank manager is the person who can create customer. As part of this user story, if a test data is provided, then that is fine. If the test data is not provided, then you have to search. If the test data is not available, then you have to create a customer. So let's create a customer. Okay, right? Then click on add customer button. It is created. Now we will search. We will go to the open account section, and here we will search the customer. So the customer is not name is not coming here. The customer that is added is not displaying here. Yesterday it was showing right. Okay, so yesterday we have seen in the SRS document, but what happens to all the data which are already added? Customer ID is 17. So why I am not able to search? Basically, it displays. If you click here, then the customer data are already added. It will display the list of all the customers. But here, no data is displaying. I think the server is down for this application. That is why I'm not able to see any data. If I'm adding it also, then also it is not displaying. Okay, here we can see the data searching. So if I come here and why it is not displaying? Okay, so now let's see. It is saying open an application URL in the browser and click on customer login button. So this two step we have performed. Now it is asking to click on your name drop down and select the customer mentioned in the precondition. So here what we are seeing, there is no customer details is displaying here. If we are adding a customer also, if from here, if we are adding a customer, then also we are not able to see any customer details. Okay, so this is a defect. That means the application is not developed as per the requirement. Here, when we are coming to the customer login, then we are not able to see the customer details. It is showing blank. That means this is a defect. Now, for this test case, we have to raise a defect. Okay, so now in the actual result, we will mention your name drop down doesn't show any customer. Okay, so at the step number 3, this test case is failing. So we will fail the test case. After failing, we will go to the 0. What is the ticket number? The ticket number is man 6. So here we will look for the man 6, search here. So for this user story test creation is done, test case peer review is also completed. So first of all, we have to create a subtask, test execution. Okay, test execution is in progress. Now what happened? We have found an issue. Now what you will do? You will click on plus, and here you will not here. Click on here. You now you have to raise a defect. So in order to raise a defect, you have to click on this create button. Under this create, you have to select the project, and issue type you have to select as bug. Now you are testing user story number 6. So user story number 6 you will write, and now you will write a description of the defect. What is the defect description? Your name drop down doesn't show customers. This is the defect. Now we will write the description. What is the first? What will be the first step? This is step by step process you have to write. Open the application, click on login button, and now here we will write. This is the step where you are getting the defect. So here you will write verify customers name displayed in your name drop down. So this defect you are creating for developer. So what developer will do? He will read one by one line, and in order to reach to the defect, you are talking about a defect. So how developer will get to know? Developer will open this defect one by one. He will read the line. He will perform the same activity in the application to reach to the defect. So you have to write this step very clearly in detail. So right here you are writing verify customer name displayed in your drop down, right? So this here you will write just above in the description section. First we will write scenario. Now you will write expected result. What should be the expected result? Customer name should display in your name drop down. But what is the expectation? What is the actual result happening? What is actually happening? Customer name is not displaying in the your name drop down, right? Done. All the updates details are updated. Now you will add the label in the defect. This is for sprint one. Okay. You will add this to the version. Now you have to attach the screenshot of the defect. So here you are not seeing any details. So here you will from your computer keyboard you will click on print screen. So it will capture the screenshot, and here in here you just click on Control V. Once you type Control V, automatically the screenshot will be added over. Or what you can do, open uh, you open Snip tool. Okay, now this is your defect. This is when I'm coming here, I'm not able to display this section. Okay, so better to capture this one with the help of, or what you can do after, just click over here and click on print screen button, and then open a Word, anything, WordPad or Word document. Here paste the Control V, and it will paste the screenshot, and then use this one. Just click on that and highlight this section. This is the defect. Now Control C to copy this one. Go to your Jira, then Control V. So it will add that particular screenshot. Okay. Now, this is the important part. After doing all this activity, this defect you have raised is you have raised for which user story? You are raising a defect, but this defect belongs to which user story? So you have to link this defect with that user story. So what is the linked issue? So here you will select blocks. What it is blocking? This user story. This defect is blocking the execution of this user story. So from here, in the linked issue, you will select blocks, and here you will select the user story number. Okay, and then you will click on create. Now click on view issue. So our defect has been created. Okay, your name drop down doesn't show customer. This is the scenario. This is the expectation. This is the attachment, and it is linked to this user story. Now
So
talking your
severity and priority of defect.
severity and priority. So as this is a trial version of Jira, so we are not able to see the severity and priority section. But in any project, they have the licensed version. If you click on this create button, if you select this issue type, after providing all the details, like this is a section, this is a section, this is a section. So similarly, there will be a section for severity and priority. Now it depends why it is not available in trial version, because it depends on the project how they want to implement the severity and priority. Do they want to implement this in a way like high, medium, low, or do they want to implement like a number 5, 4, 3, 2, 1? So it depends on the project how they want to customize this severity and priority.
Okay,
So,
sir.
so in the same way, you will see a priority and severity section. So you will just click on that. Let's suppose if it is written as high, medium, low. So you will see the option as high, medium, low. From there, you will select high or medium. Similarly, for priority, there will be the option. Either it will be number or either it will be written as critical, major, medium,
Okay.
minor, in that way. So you have to select that option while creating the defect.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So now see this defect has been created and it is linked to this particular user story.
The assigned to which developer, sir? That is also not main.
Yes. Now after creating this defect here in the assigning, you will assign this to
Yeah.
the
Okay.
to any particular developer. So he will receive a message.
Okay,
Once
sir.
you assign this, so he will receive a notification like a defect has been created and you are being assigned for that defect. Now the developer will look into the defect, he will look into the evidence and he will fix this. Okay.
Okay,
So
sir.
this is how we raise a defect in Jira. Initially, we have done all this activity in Excel sheet, but here we have done the same thing in Jira. Okay. So now
Okay, sir.
once this defect is created, so copy this defect link, go to your QA deputy, and in the actual result, mention here defect ID. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And this already you have failed. So now if anyone will open this, he will see the actual result and the defect ID. Anyone can see the defect. For this one, what defect you have raised. Okay. So this is how we raised it. Now let's move on to the next user story. Man 8. For this, we will do the execution. Let's move it into the in progress status. Now here we will open user story number 8. Here you will create, similarly, you will create subtasks, test case analysis, test case creation, then test case peer review, then test case execution. Okay. Now you will do the execution. For this, you have a user story, sorry, the test case, open account, click on customer login button, click on your name drop down and select. It is talking about this. Your name drop down again, we are not able to see anything. Click on login button, click on deposit amount, right? So now, and at this step, it is failing. Now again, this user story is failing at this at this step. So you will copy this step and you will write here the actual observation. Your name drop down doesn't show customer. Same defect is there, right? Doesn't show. Okay. Now what we will do in this user story, you will create, you will click on create and then you will select bug. You will write the description, summary. Then first in the description, you will write scenario one by one step. You can take help of from your test case steps. Only you have to modify this step where you are getting the defect. Write verify, customer name displaying in your name drop down. In the expectation result, you will write it should display. In actual, you will write it is not displayed. Then label, sprint, version you will select. Severity, priority you will select. You will select from here blocks, and here you will specify the user story, and then you will click. You will attach the evidence, screenshot evidence here, and you will click on create. Okay. So that defect will be created, and it will be linked to this user story. Okay. Now, now, let's suppose this defect is fixed. So what when developer will start working on, so he will make mark this as in progress. Once he will fix this, before fixing it will be in progress means once he thinks like he has fixed the defect, so he will assign your name. It will be in progress status. It will again assign back to your name. Now you will see a notification that this defect is assigned back to you. Now you will retest again the same thing. Your it should be your expectation. This is you should see when you click on customer login, then you should see customer details over here, customer name over here. If you can see, then you will comment out here the defect is retested. Once you will create a defect and once you will assign this to the developer, so you will write a comment here, defect traced, please investigate to please investigate this, and you will click on save, and you will assign that defect to that person. Now when developer will fix this, so he will comment defect is fixed, please retest, and you can assign that particular tester name. You just write at the rate And here you cannot see any name over here because this is a trial version. But in a licensed version, after putting a comment, if you write at the rate and if you write any name, then that name will be displayed. And then click on save. Now, as a tester, you will test the defect. You, if you found the defect is working, it is fixed, you are able to see the customer details. So here you will write defect is retested and working as per the requirement. Okay. Now you will, once it is fixed, you will mark it as done. You will mark it as done, tester. So if anyone opens this defect, he will get to see all the comments, like what are the activities happened in the defect. So he will be able to see each and every details. So this is how we follow the commenting section, comment part. Okay. Once this defect is fixed, and once you complete this, you will see it will be strike through. That means it is completed. Now what you will do, you will move on to your test case. You will again mark it as in progress. You will execute your all the details, and you will put out your comments after here. You will note down your actual results, and you will mark it as passed. Okay. Once it is done, then your test execution process is completed. Now you will mark this one as done. Now once this is done, next subtask that you will create is test execution demo. Now you will ask the product owner. Product owner will give a time. You will give a demo. If it is successful, then you will again mark it as done. So these are the activity that we perform as a tester. If anyone opens this user story, he will get to know these are the activities happened. And there is a defect which was also raised. Okay. Now one more thing, this user story is not only for you, this is for developer also. So here, this is your testing task. Developer will also create his own task, the development task. So you do not need to worry about that task. You will only focus about your task. So on the same user story, both developer and tester works. Developer creates its own subtask. Tester creates its own subtask. Okay. So this is the complete from start to the end, the activity that we do on a user story in an agile project. I have explained each and every scenario that can happen. Okay. So this is the execution and the defect creation part in a Jira. If anyone asks you like how you work on user story, what are the tasks, what are the activity you do, so you can explain all this activity, what you do in all the activity. Now you can explain what happens in each and every activity, how to raise a defect, what are the details you write in a defect. All the details now you can say, you can explain to the interview. Okay, so this part is done. Execution part is done. Defect part is done. Now, if anyone has anything to discuss, anything to ask apart from Kisha, Kisha, if you have also, you can ask.
Sir, if you have written test case in Excel, then how to we import? Is there any provision to import?
Excel test case in Jira. Yes, you can do that. But here in trial version, you will not be able to. It is possible in the licensed version. So
Okay.
there you will see an option called import. So you will click on that import button. Then it will ask you to open the Excel sheet. Okay. So you will select the
Okay,
Excel,
sir.
and once you click on import, then it will import the test cases. But one thing is there,
Okay.
in Jira, there will be some sections. Like in Jira, once you create, like here in QA deputy, if you see, uh, go on mute, yeah. So here, once we create any test case, let's suppose if I open this. So what are the sections? Precondition, test case step, expected result, reference attachment. These are the sections which we can see here. So in the Excel sheet also you have to create these different sections in a column. Like in one column, precondition, then test case step, then expected result, then reference, then attachment. So it should match as per the section. Let's suppose forget about QA deputy. In Jira, you are creating test case. Okay. And when you are creating in test case in Jira, so you are seeing option like step number, description, expected result. Step number, description, expected result. So this three column you have to create in Excel sheet. And in the Excel sheet, you have to write in the same way, the test case. Then if you try to import in Jira, then Jira will try to match whether the test case column that you have written in Excel sheet is matching as per the Jira test case column or not. If the columns are matching, then only it will allow you to import. Otherwise, it will fail. If any test case, if any column is more or less, like it is, if in our example it is three, but if in Excel sheet you have created four column, then it will fail. Or if you create only two column, then also it will fail. So that number of column you have to match. Then only the import will be successful. Not only import, you can export also. Let's suppose in Jira you have created a test case, you can export that in an Excel sheet. So both import and export facility is there. On a licensed version, just at the top right section, you will see an import and export section. Here I cannot show you because this is a trial version.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Anything anyone else has to discuss anything? If not, then we will move on to our next last section. This is the application URL. I know Prasunna, like I haven't shared, like you have a problem in QA deputy. So just after this class, I will ping you the details for practice purpose. So you can do that.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. And this is done. Are you able to access Jira? Anyone has checked? You are able to see all these details. No one has tried. Oh, so you are able to see. Okay, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Oh, then that is fine. Okay, now let's move on to the last topic of today's class, that is the requirement traceability matrix. Before that, let's understand what it is actually, what its meaning, why we should create this. So what is requirement traceability matrix? It is a high level document to map and trace user requirements with the test cases. User requirements means requirements given by the customer, against that the test cases that you have created. So for each of the requirement, how many test cases you have created, this document basically deals about that, or basically talks about that. For each and every requirement, adequate level of testing is being achieved. Let's suppose 5 requirements. So for every requirement, how many test cases you have created. So in the document, you will be able to see that details. So that is a mapping or tracing purpose. For tracing purpose, we basically do that. So that, like, if your project manager or your client wants to know, like, for this requirement, how many test cases you have created. So you cannot share QA deputy link or Jira link, because that guy is not a technical person. He will not be able to understand all these things. What is test case? What is execution? He don't know. He doesn't know about all these things. He is a business person. He is not a technical person. So that is why we create a requirement traceability matrix to share among the different project manager or client or delivery manager. Okay. So the process to review all the test cases that are defined for any requirement is called traceability. The process to review all the test cases that are defined for any requirement. Like for any requirement, the test cases that you have created, right? Let's suppose for one requirement, let me show you. Yes, this the traceability matrix look like this. So for every requirement, what we generally do, we create a test scenario, and for this test scenario, we create number of test cases. Okay. So the process of reviewing these test cases against each of the requirement is known as traceability. Traceability enables us to determine which requirement swapped the most number of defects. Like simply you can see, it basically helps you to determine for this requirement how many test cases is created, how many is passed, how many is failed, and for failed one, how many defects you have created. So this is the meaning of traceability. The process of reviewing all the test cases. What we generally do in a review? In test case review, we see whether the test case is passed or failed. If it is passed, then that is fine. If it is failed, so why failed? What are the defects? So this is the review process of any test case. So in traceability, we are able to review the test cases that we have created against a requirement, and we also get to know the status of the test case. If it is passed or if it is failed, then what are the defects? How many number of defects you have created? So all these details we can see in a traceability. The focus of any testing engagement is and should be maximum test coverage. Why? How, so from when we start creating requirement traceability matrix, as soon as you start creating the test cases, from that onwards, parallelly you start creating the requirement traceability matrix. Let's suppose user story number one, you have started creating test cases. It is not like there will be only one test case for a single user story. There can be multiple test cases for a single user story. There can be positive scenarios, negative scenarios. So let's suppose for a user story, you have created 5 test cases. So immediately you will go to the requirement section, traceability matrix. Here you will provide the test user story number one detail, and here you will list down all the user story number, test case number that you have created for this user story. This too will be blank because Currently, you are just creating the test cases. Parallelly, we do all this activity just to ensure no requirement is left. We have covered every requirement and we have written the test cases for every requirement. Nothing has been left. 100% testing coverage we have done. 100% testing coverage means all the requirement we have taken and we have created test cases for that. Nothing is left from the testing side. This is the meaning of this sentence. Okay. Now, requirement traceability matrix establishes a way to make sure we place checks on the coverage aspect. It helps in creating a snapshot to identify coverage gaps. In short, it can also be referred to as a matrix that determines the number of test cases run, passed, failed, blocked, etc. for every requirement. So this is just a detailed high-level description about these three sentences. In this is a sample traceability matrix you can create for any project. Here you will provide if it is a waterfall model, so it will be test scenario ID. If it is a agile model, so it will be user story. This will be same. Here one by one you will write your user story number, and against that, let's suppose for this one, these many test cases are created: pass, fail, blocked, failed, pass. For failed, how many defects you have created? It can be one defect, it can be multiple defects also. So this mapping part now, on just on this Excel sheet, you can get the entire details about your testing activity that you have done for all these user stories. Now, a project manager or client do not doesn't need to go to the QA deputy or the Jira to look into each and every detail. Simply, he will look this requirement traceability and he will get all the idea what actually happened in the project as a testing part. So that is why we create requirement traceability matrix. Why it is required? It helps to link the requirement, test cases, and defects accurately. The whole application is tested having the requirement traceability. End-to-end testing of an application is achieved. If we follow this document, so no user story will be left from our side. It may happen sometimes, like we have missed any user story, and we haven't written any test cases. So if we follow this process, if we list down before the starting of the sprint, if we list down all the user story here that we are going to work on, so nothing will be left. And for every user story, we will keep creating the test cases. So 100% testing coverage will be achieved here. Now, once you will start doing the execution, so you will start updating this status and the defect section. So this parallelly we create. Parallelly, the testing activity will be going on, and parallelly we will keep on updating this traceability matrix sheet. Okay. Any doubt? Anything? Any confusion? Why we create traceability matrix? Why? What it? Why it is useful? What are its advantages? Any confusion in understanding?
Sir, in interview, they asked me about forward and backward traceability matrix.
Okay. Forward traceability matrix and backward traceability matrix.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So basically, in forward traceability matrix, what happens? We follow the requirement to test case approach, and in backward traceability matrix, we follow test case to requirement approach. Right now, if I try to explain, you will not be able to understand. So what I will do for this, I will create a sample Excel sheet for both the approach, forward and backward. And in the next class, I will explain you like what is the meaning of forward and backward traceability matrix and how in Excel sheet it looks like. Currently, it is not ready. So I will explain you
Okay,
in
sir.
the next. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Anything else? I will note down right now so that I will prepare by tomorrow, by the next class. Anything else you have noticed or you want me to explain regarding manual testing?
Sir, one thing also, what do you mean by uh, test bed or
Test build.
yeah, test bed, bed, bed.
I didn't get you. Test.
Test bed.
Can you type?
Okay.
Test bed.
Yeah, sir.
This is something new I have heard. Okay, I will check what it is and then I will explain you.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so if it is done, then one small thing that I would like to explain here is regarding the number of different environments. As of now, we have seen dev, we have now know we know about dev environment, we know about test environment, right? In test environment, there are different types of environment. First is the FST environment. What is FST environment? When any new project comes into the picture, or for any existing project, if customer is providing new functionality, like one sprint is done, now in the next sprint we are going to get new user story that are nothing but the requirement. Okay, so the first level of testing that we do for the new requirement, whenever any new requirement comes, the first level of testing that we do is FST. That is functional test. And for functional testing, there is a functional environment. So in that case, what happens? Developer will do the development in his development environment. After that, he will move that in the FST environment. So if you are a part of a functional tester, so your tester will provide you the FST environment link. So there you will do your testing. Once FST is done, like in your one sprint, you have worked on 5 user story. Your entire test team has worked on 5 user story. All the 5 user story you have done the testing. It is passed. All that user story is passed. So what is the next step? What happens after that? After that, there is a concept of regression testing. For regression testing also, we have regression environment. Now, what happens in regression testing? Let's suppose sprint 1 completed, sprint 2 completed, sprint 3 completed, sprint 4 completed, and in the same way, 10 sprint is completed. And in the 10 sprint, as a functional tester, our responsibility is to test the new requirement coming from the client side. Now, in the sprint 1, we have worked on 5 user story that is completed. Now, in the second sprint, we got new 5 more new user story. So, what about those previous 5 user story? Because we functional tester, we FST tester, we are not going to test because we every time we get new requirement for testing. So who will test the previously tested requirement? Why we need to do that? Why we need to again test the previous tested user story or the requirement? Generally in application, every time, like in every sprint, new requirement is getting developed. every time. In every sprint, 5 user story, 5 new requirement. In the second sprint, 5 new user story, 5 new requirement. So every time new requirements are keep on developed by the developer. So it is required to test the previously tested user story just to check, due to this newly addition of the requirement, previously tested requirement is working fine or not. That comes under regression testing. So let's suppose in sprint one we have worked on 5 user story, and in the 5 user story we have created 20 test cases. Out of the 20 test cases, once this FST will be completed, so either your test lead or any senior team member of your team, or you may be also, you will schedule a meeting with the regression testing team. And in the regression testing team, you will explain them what are the user story you have tested and what are the test cases you have created. You have to give a knowledge sharing session to the regression testing team about the requirement, about the test cases that you have created. Okay, once the meeting is done, now you will draft an email. In the email, you will write you have connected with the regression team, you have given a knowledge sharing session about the requirement of first sprint and the test cases. Please accept this as a sign off, FST sign off. Once FST give a sign off, it means FST is completed. Now hand over to the regression team. Now FSTs, once you draft that email and you will send in the email, to whom you will keep your project manager, your test lead, your entire regression team, your entire testing team member, all will be included in that email. You will give a sign off. Okay, so once you give the sign off, now the test cases, the 20 test cases you have handed to the regression team. Now that regression team will take care about that 20 test cases. Their job is basically to repeatedly every time to test all the test cases that are previously tested. So now the regression team will start doing the analysis. They are not going to test entire 20 test cases. Out of the 20, they will decide which are important to test, which are as a part of regression testing we should do. Okay. Now in second sprint, you have got 5 new user story. So regression team will do the testing of entire 20 test cases of sprint one. Sprint two completed. For the 5 user story, you have created 30 test cases. Now again, after the sprint to completion, you will connect again with the regression team. You will give a knowledge sharing session about the 30 test cases that created by the testing team in the sprint 2. Again, you will draft an email, you will give a FST sign off, and that 30 test cases will be given to the regression team. Now the total count is 50. So in the same way, the count keeps on increasing. So that is why for every sprint, 20, 30, they are not going to keep all the 20 and 30. Out of that 20 and 30, they will identify 5 or 6 or maybe 8 or 10 test cases. And only for that, they will keep on doing the testing. Because in every sprint, what happening? New features are getting added, new requirement are getting added. So they will do the testing of those previously created test cases and tested test cases by FST. Just to ensure, due to the newly added requirement, previous requirement are not getting affected. So how they can ensure that? They have to test the previously created previously created test cases. In that way, they can ensure, due to the newly addition of the requirement, previous requirement are not getting affected if it is working fine. In case if it is affected, then they will raise a defect. Regression team will raise a defect. So this is what happens in regression team, as a part of the regression test. Understood the scenario or any doubt? Like this is the time to ask. That is why I am repeating every time. Is there any doubt? Is there any doubt? So this is what happens in regression testing team. And there is a there will be a regression environment. So there they will do all the testing. So once you give the sign off, developer will deploy that, or DevOps team. Generally, DevOps team do this all this activity. They will deploy all the uh, from FST environment to the regression environment. They will deploy all the user story that are developed. Then regression team will start doing the testing in his own environment. Once regression is done, then there is a UAT, application under test. Sorry, user acceptance testing. This is done at client side. This is basically done by the client. In the client side, like in our example, the client was ICICI Bank. So they also will have they will also hire some tester at their side. Till regression, this will be done by the company, by the project. After that, the entire thing will be moved on to the UAT environment. In the UAT environment, this is the client, that means the ICICI Bank. They also have some testers. So now the client will ask their tester to do the testing about the requirement that has been tested by the project, by the company, just to ensure everything is working. They also want to ensure from their side, like whatever the testing has been done by the project or by the company is correctly working fine. So this user acceptance testing is basically done at the client side by the client side testers. And for that, there is a UAT environment. Once it is passed from the UAT environment, then it goes live. That means real time users like you, me, everyone who are the ICICI Bank customer. Now they will start using the application. So first is the UFST, next is the regression, then there is a UAT, and then it go live. Go live application URL will be the ICICI Bank URL. Like if I show you, if you type here ICICI, if you open this, so this is the go live URL. The URL that a user I can access. Now here we will do our bank related operations. If like while using, let's suppose you have transferred some money to your person, to your friend, and amount is deducted, but it is not getting transferred to your friend. So what you will do, you will connect with the customer care. You will explain them the reason what happens to you. They will raise an incident number, right? And what happens generally, the at incident number, then comes the production. This incident number will be created. You will receive that incident number in your email, and that will be assigned to the production team. That incident number, let's suppose it is 12345. This number has been created. Now there is a production team. Production work is very difficult. Like there is no day and night, because customer, the actual customer is facing the issue, so immediately you have to fix it. Immediately you have to fix it. So there are some testers, some developers that work as a production team. There are some production and environment there is for developer and for tester also. So production developer will immediately fix this issue, and tester will test that the issue is fixed. Once it is fixed, now it will be this will be deployed to this environment, go live environment. If the defect is this incident number is fixed, so it will be deployed to this go live environment. Now what will happen? Your money that is deducted will be added to your bank account. This is what happens, right? So that is why they said, please wait 2 or 3 working days, the amount will be added to your bank. So in that 2 or 3 days, this is what happens. If the service is very quick, then in an hour also you will see your amount is getting added in the bank. Or sometimes in a minute, like after 2 or 3 minutes we see. So that process is automatic. If it is not delivered, so automatically it will be added by the bank. So these are the different environments in a project. Dev environment, FST environment, regression environment, UAT environment, go live, production environment. These are the different environments that you may experience or you come across in an entire project. Never accept this role, production environment role. Never accept this. In the night also you have to work. So that is why people doesn't like to accept this role. But if you have got some experience, like in production environment, the developers who has worked in production environment, they are very highly skilled because a real time issue is coming and that they are fixing. So their experience level is something different. It has an advantage and it has a disadvantage also. Only disadvantage is there is no time limit. Sometimes they will ask you have to come in the night to work on, you have to do night shift. That is why people doesn't like this. Okay. So different environments things also we have covered. ITM also covered. Forward backward I will cover in the next class. So that's all from my side as a second process. In the next class I will create a resume. I will, let's see if I am able to create it. I will just show you like how you can present that resume to the client. What are the things you should write in the resume as part of Agile or as part of waterfall model. This part first I will cover. So in the second part, I will give you an overview about the e-commerce and the banking domain, like how you should explain that domain in an interview. So these three things I will explain in the next class, in the last class of our second project, and then it will be completed. Okay. So that's all from my side. If you have anything to ask, you can ask, or you can drop.